In less than 8 years, they've gone from sleeping on the floor to a $10 million real estate portfolio.
Welcome to Real Estate Investing Secrets. We're all looking for freedom and the opportunity to live better, more fulfilling lives. But most of us were trained our entire lives to work for someone else and chase their dreams. How can we use real estate investing as a vehicle to achieve financial freedom? My life is dedicated to answering your real estate investing questions and helping you build an investing business that allows you to change your life and the world around you, and to enable you to turn your dreams of financial freedom into a reality. My name is Mike Hambright from FlipNerd.com, and your questions get answered here on the Real Estate Investing Secrets Show.
Hey guys, super excited to be here today with Anthony and Candace Coffey. How are you guys doing today?
We're doing great. How are you?
Doing fantastic. Thanks for having us.
Yeah, super excited to be here. So since I've taken over the Flip Nerd podcast, this is the first time I've actually had a couple on with me. And what better couple could I have than you guys?
Yeah, I love it. Thank you.
Thank you for having us.
Yeah, for sure. So in over 1,500 shows on the Flip Nerd podcast, we're back again with another hard-hitting, super informational, but inspirational podcast, because we're going to talk about today how Anthony and Candace started with literally nothing and have built up to a $10 million real estate portfolio in a relatively short period of time. So let's start off let's just talk about where you guys do business, how you're doing business today, and then we'll kind of dig in deeper after that.
We're based out of Kansas City, Missouri. We do a little bit of everything with real estate, from wholesaling to flipping to short-term rentals, long-term rentals, you name it, we do it.
Yeah, we really found our niche in the real estate industry. We're a solutions-based company, and so we really we spend a lot of money on direct seller marketing, and we really try to solve distressed sellers in some way, shape, or form, and solve solutions-based win-win solutions for everybody. That's basically what we've been doing the past 8 years. Direct seller marketing, try to create win-win solutions for everybody we do business.
We want to be the number one people to call in Kansas City. That is our goal.
Yeah, our goal is to be omnipresent and help each homeowner with their real estate needs.
Well, I think you guys are doing a good job of that. It's kind of unfair for me because I've known you guys for a few years now. So I've watched you guys grow a little bit. Even in just a few years, I've known you. And as far as branding goes, I know hundreds of real estate investors across the country, and you guys work harder on your company's branding than just about anybody who I know. You know, from your trucks, you guys have an office. I know that you guys also have, Candace has a real estate license. So you guys can focus on a seller and really, like you said, become omnipresent. I think a lot of investors kind of forget about that and don't think about building a brand, where I'm sure at this point it started to help you guys. So let's back up a little bit. You talked about before we got on the show that you guys started basically, sleeping on a mattress at your sister's house, Candace, right?
Yeah,
so how did you guys
sister.
Well, and yeah, so that's even more confusing for poor Anthony, but how did you guys go from that point to the mindset that, hey, we're entrepreneurs, we want to build something big? And I know you guys want to build much bigger than you already are, but you've already had a ton of success. But why don't you take us back in around 2014 when you guys first got bit by that entrepreneurial real estate bug?
It's very interesting because when we first started out, I didn't know anything about real estate. I didn't even know what a deed was. But Candace and I just got married, just had a baby.
I was a leasing agent at the time, leasing apartment complexes.
I didn't know anything about anything. I just knew I had to provide and support, and I was paranoid. And yeah, the goal was just to do a couple houses a year, and just keep that in rotation, and it just started to snowball. And every dollar that came into the organization, we went right back into marketing, real estate, or our lenders. But yeah, we're in this for the long haul. That's why every dollar goes right back into marketing or customer relations or lender relations or interest. Or
he came back from Afghanistan not really knowing what he wanted to do. So we kind of just we're like, well, we're all in. We're gonna just go for it.
Yeah, I mean, I was
ourselves.
always a blue collar worker. I was a union power line worker, personal training, did concrete. I always paid my time for money, which is what I was raised on. But I just never did anything for me. I wasn't excited. And then we went to a 3-day little seminar for real estate, learned how to do that. I'm like, man, this is awesome. And so we just dove head in or feet first or whatever that saying is, burned the boats. And then I just got obsessed. And so from that 8 years ago, I just been 100% all in. No plan B, no nothing.
Yeah. And I mean, that's the way it's got to be if you want to be successful a lot of times. And it's different for everybody, but, Anthony, first of all, we all appreciate your service. So we thank you for that. We wouldn't be here if it wasn't for guys and ladies, who've served, our country like you guys have. So we appreciate that very, very much.
Thanks, sir.
And so when you got back from Afghanistan and not totally knowing what you wanted to do, knowing that you can't trade, you're not going to become wealthy or maybe even happy trading hours for dollars, even though there's nothing wrong with that. It's noble to work in those jobs and those professions. But take us through those first couple years. A lot of the people who listen, our subscribers who listen or watch this show are getting started in real estate investing, right? Or they're doing a couple deals a year and not sure how to get over that hump. So how did you guys go from 0 deals in the first year to where you guys started to actually feel that I've got this thing figured out?
We still don't have it figured out though.
Well, we're getting closer. Joining a mastermind was really beneficial. Before joining the mastermind, being an entrepreneur, it's really lonely. A lot of people can relate. It's a lonely path. You can't really rely on anybody. You can't really talk to anybody. And so before we joined Investor Fuel, we really didn't know what we were doing, really, as far as like trying to scale a business. We knew we were doing a couple houses a year, but we wanted to treat it like a business, but we weren't really treating it like a business. So after we got around these other high-level investors, we started learning from them, we started copying them. So really, it was just being around other people doing it a couple steps ahead of you, where you can just learn from them.
Where we could set goals and things that we wanted to, strive to be and do. Yeah,
because before we joined the mastermind, we were just, like I said, just barely getting by, a couple houses here. Our marketing wasn't there. We weren't tracking KPIs. We weren't treating it like a business.
We just got a Podio system, CRM.
So yeah, we didn't know anybody. We didn't have anybody to rely on. So I would just say joining the mastermind was really what helped us go from level 1 to level 2 to level 3. Just because you can compare notes and see what everybody else is doing and take what you find beneficial.
And it just helps like being social and talking about the business and learning that, okay, other people aren't doing marketing, but what if we did the marketing? What if we did branding? Maybe it'll bring us more deals so we can cut down on costs on like paying for outbound marketing and things like that.
But for people starting out, I would definitely recommend going to your local meetups, seeing someone who's doing it, who's been doing it for a little bit longer than you, someone who's maybe a step or two ahead of you.
Putting content out there has been really important.
That's it, because when we did this thing, we did it all by ourselves. We didn't reach out to anybody. We just read all the books. We failed probably more than anybody else.
I remember not even knowing how to pull a list and talking. I think it was Mike, and asking him all these questions, and he was sending me all these videos to watch. I was like, wait, what is skip tracing?
We didn't know anything about anything.
So I learned a lot right when we joined.
Yeah, so it was just really beneficial. We were just flies on the wall, and then people were like, "Help! What do you need help with?" It's like, we don't even know.
We're trying to do it all.
I remember it was one of the first nights you guys were there, because we were up kind of like at that high rise, and I talked to you guys, and I was like, yeah, right. And I was like, man, these guys are going to be awesome, And I remember you're like, we don't even know like what to start with, and we're doing this and doing that, but you were already doing business because, you're make it happen people. So like, you're going to dig in, and like, I don't know, Missouri is still the Midwest, right? Like I get confused with Detroit and Missouri and Chicago, but like, I always tell people from Detroit, like we change our own brakes, right? That's like our mentality. So like people from Missouri, like you guys are the same way, gritty, like we're going to go to work, right? And we're going to make it happen. But it doesn't it has to be our knuckles that we're breaking to do it. So getting in that mastermind, and I talked to a lot of newer real estate investors, and I explained to them, you may not be at a point where you're going to fly around the country multiple times a year and spend $20,000-$30,000 on your real estate education or business or growing that network yet, because you're not there. But you could have a mastermind group right at home. And today with Zoom, or we're talking to each other from across the country right now, right? And you have to have that support system, because being a solopreneur is it is lonely. And if you don't, you guys have built-in partners, but for those who don't, and even though you guys have built-in partners, that means you're probably thinking alike a lot of the time. So you need someone to challenge you and to say, hey, here's what we're doing different, or here's what you can do, because then your mind gets expanded just exponentially when you start seeing people at Investor Fuel as an example. And you're like, wait a minute, if that guy Dylan can do it, like, give me a break. Like, we can do this too. Yeah, it's exactly what it was, right? So the mastermind principle is huge.
Yeah. So like, I remember when we first started out, I mean, we were sleeping on a mattress. I just found out I was pregnant, and we were at my sister's house sleeping on the floors, and he was like, it's do or die. I'm not going to sink. Like, we're going to do this. And we ended up just starting to like buy more houses and then join the mastermind, and then figured out that branding was really important. So that's why we now do billboards and TV ads in movie theaters. We do all the branding that a lot of other companies don't do, because we want people to come to us and see that we're credible right out the gate.
It was really a game changer, was really knowing who you are as an investor and what value you can bring to the company. You know that, you know who you are, and you can but it took me a long time to realize who we were as a company, what value we could bring. Obviously, the goal is profit, and you got to buy houses as possible. But outside of that, if you get past that, like, all right, what's the value I can truly bring to the lender, the homeowner, the seller, the buyer, the title, everybody you're doing business with? That's where you know where you're the game changer at. You're the rainmaker. You know what I mean?
Yeah, we're the ones who create the transactions and actually do them, and everybody is kind of on the sidelines waiting for us to do something. So I've always looked at it's like 12, 13, 14, 15 maybe transactions happen because of one transaction, a decision that we make as investors.
Yeah.
So you're right. Like, once you have that unique selling proposition in your head, which we want to buy low, we want to fix, we want to sell high if we're fixing and flipping, or we want to buy low and sell off to other investors if we're wholesaling. It is profit driven, but if you know that value, like you said, Anthony, then it just makes it that much easier to show people who you are. And again, like the branding you guys are doing, let's talk a little bit about that. So since you guys have branded in a much bigger sense than 99.9% of investors out there, what have you seen, or what have your acquisition folks seen walking into houses when people already know who you are?
The first thing they say is, "Where's the little girl at?"
We have
this is from your TV commercial, right?
Yeah. Our billboard. We have Live Family on there.
It's very interesting. There's a few stories we could talk about, but we don't consider other investors in our marketplace as competition. We don't have a scarcity mindset. So we talk to other local investors, and it'll be funny because they'll be on their appointments, and then the sellers will have their TV on and our commercial will pop up, and they'll just, we like these guys. And so that's always funny hearing those stories. And then just having the office and the brand and the logos and all that stuff. I mean, people come into the office all the time, contractors, sellers. Heck, we just locked up a house 4 weeks ago that we just put on the market last week. The seller literally just walked in. We bought for 174, put 20 grand into it, and it's on the market for 187 right now. Or 287, I'm sorry.
I was like, what?
287, I'm sorry. But I was just a walk-in from the office, you know what I mean? So we get at least 2 walk-ins a month. I mean, contractors are always coming in.
People are always calling us.
And so just us.
People recognize us. I'll be driving because I have that sticker on my car that says scan to see what I do. And they'll scan it and then they'll drive right by me.
I've seen you. We're just TV. way more credible now compared to the marketplace. When we walk in, people already know us. They're like, I see you everywhere. I see you on billboard. I get your postcards. You guys called me. Like, I see you guys everywhere. There's no running from you guys. Yeah. So it's just a sense of credibility. And, those 3 levels of people are going to do business with you. They have to know you, like you, and trust you. And it automatically brings a couple of those down just by having that content out there in the market. So when our acquisition goes in there, whoever goes in there, it's really not that much work to do because
they already trust
the brand's already out there. We just need to relay the message and be personable and add value to this.
Yeah, I always like to call it resistance-free selling. So the way I explain it is the more credibility that you have, and we have websites and magazines or booklets, like all the stuff that we talk about right inside the mastermind, and just separately. You never know what's going to change that person's mind, but I want that hurdle to be a tiny speed bump, because when I finally get there, or one of my acquisition people gets there, like you said, it's an easy close, and it's not even a close. We've showed them the value that we're going to bring. They're in a situation where they need to use one of our services, and it just happens instead of like, going back to 2014 and 15, like ramrodding it through and like cold calling and like, again, nothing wrong with all that stuff. But so yeah, you guys are talking about, I know your business much more intimately than the public because I'm in the mastermind with you guys. So you're talking about having 40 or 50 doors in a short period of time, because I remember when you weren't buying rentals yet, right? And that was one of your goals, or to increase your door count, and then 10 or 20 contracts a month. I mean, those are big numbers. A lot of investors. I mean, let's be honest, at the local RIA right now, if one's going on tonight, 10 or 20 deals a year, it's hard to find investors doing, 5 or 6 investors in a room doing that in a normal Midwest city, like where you guys are from or where I'm from. So you guys have cranked it up.
Like what we're seeing is it's really hard to buy in like market out in Kansas. They have different laws and regulations and things like that. So now we're starting to buy in that area when before we weren't buying in that area because we couldn't really market to it. But now people are actually reaching out from our marketing in the areas that you can't really market, which is really cool because that's where the real money is out there.
So Candace, when you say you can't market, I don't mean to
you can't do
interrupt, but why can't you market when you're saying
like you're not really supposed to pull lists from there, and you can't cold call, you can't do certain things out in Kansas.
I think the public data is
like foreclosures, you can't pull pre-foreclosures, you can't pull.
Yeah.
So now we're actually starting to see an influx of properties and homeowners wanting to reach out to us to buy their houses from a different state. Well, Kansas.
Sure, because you guys intentionally put yourself in front of them. And it's funny you guys talk about that because I'm like, are you guys from St. Louis or I don't even know where you guys are from. We all get confused because there's that little cluster right there. But no, seriousness though.
St. Louis. Yeah, we buy in St. Louis too.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So, Kansas City, St. Louis. I don't know. I just know you guys are supposed to have better barbecue than the rest of the country. But you guys are intentionally putting yourself in those places with your marketing so that people are tripping over it and they're seeing you and finding you. And, let's face it, if somebody sees you on TV, I don't, you guys are younger than me, but I don't know what generation, let's call it our kids' generation. Is it their generation who sees us 20 years from now on TV and goes, TV, that's nothing. But today, the average person who's still, I don't know, I got to say, even in their 20s, they see you on TV with a commercial. They're like, all right, these guys are making it, because you can't afford to be on TV and not be making it. Right. So I think that adds to your credibility just huge. And also, I'm sure your average seller, my average seller was around 63 last time I checked. So 63-year-olds, they watch TV still, or they're certainly aware that TV was where where the most successful people would advertise. So that's super exciting.
Everyone drives their car, everyone sees our sign. And if they've seen us on TV, then they see a billboard. They're immediately I'm Googling.
So
our PPC has just gone through the roof.
Yeah, we're focusing more on the inbound leads versus outbound leads.
Sure.
And so that's been helping out a lot.
And our meetups, the meetups that we've just started doing is bringing in a lot of different deals, people, contractors, lenders, educating people.
Our last meetup, we have a verbal private lenders. I mean, she has about she has $1 million building paid off and wants to pull out a line of equity.
Sure.
I mean, it's just like I said, just people want to do business with they know you, like you, and trust you, and if they resonate with you, you know what I mean. So,
of course. So going back to the meetups, meetups have been a huge part of my business since a long time ago. 10 years before you guys were in business, unfortunately, right? I started going to meetups in 2003 and started my own in 2005. So when you guys are talking about meetups and they've changed a lot. So I know what you guys are doing, but why don't you guys explain how simple, not super simple, but how simple it is to put something together and to be seen as the go-to investors in your area with your meetup?
Well, we got the idea from other investors at the Investor Fuel idea. And, we've been doing it for a couple of months. There's a happy hour idea.
Yeah, we started doing it at bars and everything, but it got a little too noisy.
It was too noisy. We couldn't really talk to anybody. So we found a spot where it's private. We're paying just a tiny bit of money each month But we're doing a little bit different than most people.
We're kind of educating people too a little bit. And like, we have goals of like what we want our meetup to kind of be.
So I'm spending a couple $100 on food and alcohol. We're bringing people in here. But then it's just private environments. It's outside and inside. It's very nice. But we're trying to create a group and an environment where people can come talk real estate, be open, learn a little bit. And we might actually move that into like maybe an education space or something.
Yeah, what we found is most of the people that come to the events really want to learn what we're doing. Like, they're coming to meet us and to ask us questions, and we want to be able to answer those questions for them. So eventually we would want to bring like some people from Investor Fuel to kind of do like a panel, down the line, and kind of just give back to all the newer people that want to get started and just tell our story to everybody. And basically, whoever wants to do this business, we're the people to kind of ask.
Yeah, because at the bars and stuff, it was just too loud. We couldn't really focus on anybody. And when we do put our stuff out there, we are noticing people just want to come talk to us.
Yeah.
So it's more of a smaller.
People like surround us in like a circle.
Tight-knit group. It's still developing and stuff like that. But we're still trying to see how it develops and where it goes.
Yeah.
It's like you turn yourself into a Capri Sun and they put a straw in your head and just suck it dry. Believe me, I know. I've been cornered for years, right? As soon as I shut my computer, I'm done with my presentation. They're like, shoom. I'm like, listen, like, I'm the last guy you want to take advice from. I mean, joking, of course, but it is it's a cool place to be because you can share, literally just sharing what you guys did. Like, you're like, there's no magic. It's like, it's your recipe. It's Candace and Anthony's recipe. But other than a couple like really cool ideas, what we're doing is just kind of bolting a bunch of stuff together and seeing what works for the market, for our personal marketing, right? Like what we're comfortable doing. Yeah. And going back to your meetup stuff, whenever you guys want to chat, like, I'm happy to share any meetup tricks I have, ideas, whatever, like collab, in any way, shape, or form.
We need those.
Yeah, well, you guys, so one thing you did right, like, so we do some stuff at bars like that too, but it's way more for like keeping, like, I don't know, conversations going. Yeah, it's almost like they're coming there to hang out. Whereas when you kind of close those doors a little bit, people start looking at you in a different light. You know what I mean? And they're paying more attention. So there's kind of two different ways to look at it.
What are you talking about today? I'm like, whoa.
Right. Yeah. Or you can just have a giant mixer and invite all the agents, all the title people, all the mortgage people, and you guys put it on. But I don't know what, it depends on which one's more effective for you. I kind of like the more serious one because I just think you can kind of get in deeper in a shorter period of time, but it works both ways. We know guys and girls who are doing it both ways. It just depends on sometimes the size of your organization too. A lot of these people we know doing this, they have a manager for this, and their job making 40, 50, 60 grand a year is just to make connections and just make people love your company. So it's like, okay, that's a big leap for a lot of investors out there. But, again, like going from where you guys started to where you're at today, was a huge leap, and it's a testament to, your business ability and all that other stuff that goes along with it. So when you first started, like what type of transactions were you guys doing?
Just cash.
Well, I started with my twin brother, and he had some money in the bank. And so we would just we had no marketing. So we were buying off the MLS, and they weren't home run deals. So we bought the first few deals were off the MLS. And I think we made like $5,000 here, $7,000 there.
They were so excited. I remember their first deal. So excited walking through that house like 5 or 6 times.
Oh yeah.
The first couple of years were just MLS. We really didn't do any marketing. I tried a few different things. And after we joined Investor Fuel, we realized what we needed to do and track our KPIs and marketing and treat it our business. Because before that, again, we were by ourselves. We were on the road by ourselves. We didn't have anybody to lean on.
We were just buying cash. We were just like using cash, buy this.
We had
here's our cash offer. This is our only offer that we knew of.
I had my brother's private capital, and then we were starting to raise other private capital, get our name out there. And
what was your exit strategy at that point? Just rehabbing, fixing, and flipping, or were you guys wholesaling?
Yeah, rehabbing.
Okay. So you guys were buying, fixing, and flipping.
When I heard about the rentals model, the strategy, I'm like, why would anybody want to do this for $100 to $300 a month? I don't get it.
The slow man's way to become a millionaire.
I realized it took me years.
Yeah.
So we didn't start holding properties until like year 5 or something like
Is
that.
that like the second year in investor fuel?
Yeah, we're like, all right, I think we need to start holding some properties.
Right.
Everyone else
Yeah.
is.
Being transactional is cool, like getting out of your job and getting the business started. But at a certain point, it gets a little bit old because, you gotta keep finding deals. And as soon as that money comes back in, it's getting spent on another deal. Right.
Yeah,
So
100%.
there's never a way to quit. So you guys started rehabbing, buy, fix, and flipping. And then after hanging out with a bunch of crazy investor people, you started looking at rentals, and you guys wholesale a
We started
decent
actually
amount
doing-
now, right?
We started we started Phillips, and then we started creative too. I read a creative book, and then
Yeah.
I did my first subject 2 deal.
We got on the news for that one.
Because we were very strapped with cash, and so I wanted to learn how to buy more properties with little to no money down. And so I just read a couple of those books. I mean, Wendy's patent book for one. I read that like 5 times.
Sandwich lease options.
And so we're buying a lot of things subject to. We do a lot of creative deals. We do carryback, seller finance deals. I mean, that's the stuff we really like, is getting creative, buying stuff with little to no money down.
But when we first got started, it was strictly cash, and then we moved into seller financing, and now we're moving into wholesaling and wholetailing.
Well, now we're getting cash heavy again. So now we never really wholesaled. So now we're wholesaling. So now this month, I think we're bringing in about 80 grand in wholesale deals.
But it's really taken us like
it took us a while.
a few years to get to this point.
Yeah. Now each department is generating some stuff. So the flip department's bringing in some money. Wholesale's bringing in some money.
Maybe in short-term
Creative
rentals.
deals. So the pipeline's filled with all different types of deals. Now we just got to turn them quicker.
So if you guys are talking to an investor who's done a couple deals, right, and they get the lingo, they know how to close and rehab, or flip a couple houses, what would you tell them to help them like leapfrog quicker to where you guys are at, if they're doing business but they don't know how to scale up from a couple deals a year?
I would say it's all relationship. I mean, again, reach out to somebody who's doing it, see what they're doing and how they can do it. And then obviously I'm always raising capital. So I'm always looking for, people with deep pockets, and money is the name of the game. You got to have money for this business. So, that's what I'm saying. Get out there, be likable, have something that people want to resonate to and be a part of.
Meet with brokers and real estate agents, be their best friend, have them give you deals, or
add value where you can to
when
whoever
you
you're
don't
talking
have a lot
to.
of money in the beginning for marketing.
Everybody I talk to, even if they're even at the meetups or whatever like that, I say, what are you working on and how can I help? You know what I mean? It's just, you never know. And then nobody even has an answer to it, because I'm talking, I don't know. It's like very few people want to get specific. I'm like, no, let's see if I can help you out, man. And then
everyone thinks it's a secret. Like everything that we do is a secret. We're not holding any information from anybody. We want to share everything that we know to help anybody else in this business.
Yeah.
If you have the wrong mindset, it's really hard to go far, and it's really hard to go far fast. I know a lot of lone wolf investors, and there's nothing wrong with that. Like, I'm not here to judge them, but it's a lot easier when you have a group of people around you that you can support and get support from.
You listen to a lot
when I first started out, and that was another thing that was stuck out to me. When I first started out, again, I didn't have anybody to talk to, rely on, text message, whatever. And so I reached out to a couple local people, thinking like, okay, but nothing ever came of it.
They wouldn't even give them the time of day.
I got, you get discouraged and this and that. I'm like, man, if I'm ever in a position to help somebody out, I'm not going to be like this. You know what I mean? And
What's funny is back in the day, no one would even give him the time of day when he wanted to ask questions.
Yeah.
And now we see that.
Oh yeah.
Kind of has turned. So it's been nice to see. But, in the beginning, it's like, when you're new, you should want to be able to go to these people that are doing these big deals and like try to make a relationship with them, and in return give, information and education. So
yeah, not everyone has a servant's heart either. And believe me, I'm super guilty of that. Like, I'll help people and not make money. I've helped guys flip $50,000 wholesales, and they don't even think to like say thank you to me, let alone, share one of my posts or maybe throw me some ducats, right, for helping them out. But you know what, it is what it is. And those people who are greedy or they have big egos, like, we all know who they are, and you just can't change them. So you just let them go do their thing. And the only thing that I can say, in every single guest I have on, they say, I ask them, what's the best advice we can give a new investor? And they're like, tell them to be valuable, bring value, whatever it is. And like, if I meet someone like Anthony, and I mean, you're younger than me, not like a ton younger, but I would have known in 2014, I'd already been in the business 10 years. Like these two are doing something. Yeah, I'm old. I got gray hair underneath here, but I'm like, these two are going to do something. So like, they're worth spending time with. But a lot of times when you do go to like meetups and like, I call it like the bad coffee breath morning things with people, like you just get a lot of people, I call them mumsers, like they don't know what they're going to do. And they're just kind of like time wasters. So it is kind of hard in some ways. But for those of us who are like, I told you. And like, again, I don't know if that's a Midwest attitude or like, the make it happen thing, but it just teaches us how to give back better, I think, in the long run. And you just have to be happy.
Too, though. We're faithful home buyers, Casey. So
yeah, no, and I totally understand that, and you guys live by that, and a lot of other people just don't think that way. So that's part of the deal. My Facebook group, we've got 10,000 people in my local group that I started a few years ago. And our motto, it used to be make it happen, but like, that's too tough now. So we changed it to share the love, because there's so much negativity out there in these groups and everybody is stealing each other's deals and all this other stuff. And I'm like, listen, you want my list? Like, I'll tell you what I'm saying and who I'm calling. You know what I mean? Like, let's work together. We can make so much more together than to be enemies. So you just have to bring that.
I'll call you, you call me. You got a deal. Let me help you out with your deal. Right. I'll help you out with this deal. So I love that.
Yeah. Yeah. No, it's a much more fun way to be. So why don't you guys?
A local wholesaler and realtor reached out to us 2 days ago, asking to help us dispo one of his properties, and we're not marking it up or we're just helping. We're doing it for free.
Sure.
It's like,
just helping.
It's just, you know what I mean? We're all about whatever you put out, you get back. We're not trying to.
Yeah, when we were new, we wish people would do that for us. If you're new and you're just getting into this business, just meet people, make connections, learn as much as you can. Like, take it all in. Put your student hat on.
That's super great advice. I literally just got off a call with somebody. I'm doing the same thing on a rehab they started and only demoed. And they're like, I don't want people to think I'm in trouble because he's just bitten off more than he can chew right now. He's got like 6 rehabs going, and the market's come down a hair. So I'm like, all right. I'm like, let me wholesale it out there for you. And I'm like, I don't want anything. I'm like, I'll do my Dylan dance for the wholesale. People are going to think it's the greatest deal ever, and nobody will know it's yours. And he's not in trouble, but he's just like, if there's one to peel off, it's this one. Right. So I'm like, let's go, give me the lockbox code. You're not working on it for a month. Let me sell this thing before it gets snowy over here. Yeah. And he was just like, wow, you'll do that. And I'm like, yeah, because something's going to come back to me. Even if it's not from you, that's cool. I'm like, but it also puts my name out there, in a great neighborhood for a wholesale, and people like, oh, nice deal. Right. So they all think they're mine. That's okay. All I want you to do is see my name and think about real estate, no matter where or what it is,
I'm just a firm believer. I believe in karma. I believe in the universe. I believe what comes around goes around. And I believe put it out there in some way, shape, or form, it will come back to you in some way, shape, or form. It may not be today or tomorrow or the next day or a year from now, but in some way, shape, or form, I think I'm a big believer in that. It will come back to you.
When people think of faithful home buyers, Casey, we want them to know, like, we're good people. We're trustworthy people. We're honest. And we don't want people to think that we're snakes or we're here to steal anyone's house, because we've had bad situations. We've been told on social media that we've stolen people's houses and things like that. And the best thing we could do is just keep our mouth closed and not say a word. Let people think what they wanted to think. They're all going to have their opinions anyways. And just let it go. We ended up winning that whole court case too, like a year later, and we still haven't talked about it to this day.
Well, anytime you're trying to do something, people are. We're ethical in our business. Everything that we do, we're honest and transparent with everybody we do business with. But there was this one deal where we bought it up due with a carryback with the seller, and the realtor lost the deal, and she bad mouth that's all over the internet. Media. And then she basically,
to every group on social media too.
Yeah, but we won. We went through the court system. We won. We actually gave the seller another $25,000 on top of what we told her we were going to give her.
We fed her dogs, bought her phone.
So everything worked out. But but at the same time, people are going to think about you no matter what, good, bad, or indifferent. Yeah, you're not going to change your opinion either.
No,
so
you're never going to change someone. You could just continue to be who you are and a good person.
Yeah, you got to hang your head up high, and it's all about gratitude the way I look at it. And you guys have your own little family, or not little, but and all that other stuff, and you have your own health. So every single day you talk about karma, Anthony, when you wake up, you and I are having a conversation right now, right? Or the three of us are. So maybe when you do good for the world, other things happen that don't have to do with business, right?
Yeah.
So you got to have that gratitude. And if you don't, then like, whatever. I think you're kind of lost, right?
Yeah, 100%.
So why don't you guys tell us about like, what's your craziest or funniest real estate story? We got a little bit of time left, and I'd like to have something funny to hear here.
Well, here's one. We bought a house a couple years ago from a wholesaler. I was going to close on it and buy it, but much like you just told me earlier, I had way too much going on, and I just decided to wholesale it. I think I bought it with private money. I was going to start to work on it, but we had way too much going on, so I ended up selling it, just like what you just told me. We sold it to another local investor the day of closing.
Oh.
There were squatters there, and the guy was buying the squatters in place.
We've already like been there a few times to get the squatter out too.
So we agreed on a cash and keys with the squatter. Squatter obviously didn't fulfill his agreement, and then the day of the closing, he burned the house down.
Yeah.
So I get a call from the buyer saying, "Hey," because I already signed my side. And he calls me. He's like, "Hey, what's going on?" I was like, "Hey, did you close yet?" He's like, "No, there's a problem." He's like, "What's the problem?"
The house burnt down.
He goes, "The house is on fire." I was like, "What?" I thought he was joking, and he wasn't. But I mean, it was a couple months where the insurance had to go out there. I had it insured for the ARV and not what I bought it for, and so we made about $250,000 on insurance on it. But
$250,000, you said?
Yeah.
Wow. So
we had
let this be
on it, and we still closed on it.
Yeah, so let this be a lesson to investors, new and old. When you're wholesaling, you gotta insure your properties if you own them, because as soon as you own them, it's yours.
And then here's the thing. Here's another thing I should suggest that everyone do. Make sure that insurance policy stays active until the day after closing.
Yes.
I canceled it the day of closing, and so we had like a little hour because the fire happened at like 11 o'clock that night or 10 o'clock that night. They deemed. Then the day of, I canceled the closing or the insurance, and so I didn't have insurance that next day. But so I was still covered up to that midnight. So I had to talk to the president of the insurance company. Had to make sure everything was good. It was so that's a little funny story for you.
And the wholesaler still bought it. He still bought it.
Yeah, he still bought it. I just dropped the price a little bit. He still closed, still bought it. So we made money on that side, made money on the insurance. But it was stressful for a little bit, thinking if this insurance is going to pay out or this or that.
And if they were going to back out.
So was that your guys' most profitable single deal?
No.
Yeah, I would say so. The insurance deal.
I thought it would have been like the first TV one.
No, I mean, we got a couple of $75,000 wholesale deals, but and then no, that's the 220. Yeah, the insurance deal was the one. And then the one I just shared, we got a 6-figure wrap we just did. So that would be pretty cool too. But yeah.
So now that you're working a little bit, Anthony, with creative financing, can you break down, just make like 2 or 3 of the concepts super easily for people who have heard the terms, the subject to, the novation, that stuff? I know we can't get in too deep, but I guess like explain what you're super excited about, like the mechanics of those, how they work.
Yeah, I mean, for one, the debt service is already in place. Typically especially now it's a lower interest rate. So usually these creative deals are happening because the seller's in distress in some way, shape, or form. They're facing foreclosure. Their family members are living there, not paying them, they're not paying the rent, all that stuff. So we buy a lot of stuff from distressed homeowners where they're behind on payments and they just want to get out of it. And if there's equity there, we're able to give them a portion of their equity on payments as well. So basically what I like about this is I don't have to go borrow money. I don't have to raise the capital. The debt's already in there. I don't have to, all I have to do is a title search, basically make sure title is clear. I don't have to talk to anybody else. It's between me and the seller, and we can create a deal and get it done. And then on the backside, you're just creating the gap in the equity with the time and being creative. And so on the backside, I will find a B-side buyer and then try and create that arbitrage. And so if I'm paying, say, 4% on the original mortgage debt service, and they only have like $100,000 of loan payoff, I'm gonna sell that asset with, an 8% interest rate, creating that arbitrage in the gap. All I'm doing is just trying to create the gap of the equity, and that's how we're doing it. But I don't know if that's the easy explanation or not. But I mean, that's why I
There
like.
is an easier way to explain that.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not
Well,
the creative guy. I just like to.
I'm always like, talk to me like I'm stupid, please.
no, and I know that you have been doing creative deals for 20 years. So how long did it? I followed the concept, so I get it. But like, how long did it take you once you started studying to get comfortable enough to sit on a couch, right, with Joe and Mary, home seller, and explain to them, hey, you're going to deed me your house, or I'm going to buy it for this price, and I'm going to fix it up a little bit and then resell it to somebody else? Like, how long did it take you from concept to sitting down and making offers like
funny.
that?
Yeah, good question. So it's funny because after I told you I read When You Pat's book 5 times, I got a lead. And right after the deal, I was like, this is a perfect subject to deal. And that was it. So I closed it. I wrote the deed. I did the warranty deed, the title search. I closed it myself. So to answer your question, it was really quick. After I read that book, I felt very comfortable with it.
Was that the one that was going to be sold on the courthouse steps in like?
Yeah, he was about to lose his house in a couple, like
literally 2 days.
In a couple of weeks. I think it was like 2 weeks. We did title search, closed it, did it. But I mean, I read the book. I'm a paranoid person, so I read until I get it. But it took me. I mean, right after that, I was still a little nervous because my first subject to deal, I did the deed, all that stuff. I recorded it.
We actually got on the news for that one. That was the one that they did a news article on us because this guy was like in like dire need of like getting out of.
But basically, how I'm selling the service is we're going to be paying the debt on your behalf. Debt service stays in place. We take ownership via warranty deed. We're going to set up automatic payments. Your credit's going to go back up, and if there's a equity there, we will set them up with equity payments. And so they'll get a portion of their equity with a carryback, and their second position is still secured. They have a lender's policy and a deed of trust and promissory note. So if we do foreclose on them, they can take the property, or if we do default, they can take their position back. And so that's how we're selling, and people are just eating it up.
Taking over their existing mortgage.
Like one we just closed, we're just buying one with a seller finance deal. She owns it outright, but just water in place. She tried to sell it for 130 just last week, and I just locked it up for 45 on a seller finance with no money down.
Right. So when people say there's no deals right now and we're in a shifting market and all this other stuff that we hear, you just made an offer for $85,000. Well, you got an offer accepted for $85,000 less than it was listed for.
And I'm bringing nothing to the table. And I'm paying her $500 a month, principal only payments.
And she was happy.
And the house is in good shape. It's not like it's a rundown house. It's a great looking house.
Yeah. And
I can rent it right now. It's just the problem is there's a squatter in place. He's not paying.
It's just like those,
sure.
Just like landlords getting those bad tenants. They're like, I just don't want to deal with it anymore.
So after title search comes back clean, I will close on it, put an insurance policy on it for $175 in case old boy wants to burn it. And then we'll just try and get a tenant buyer. I'll evict them. I get the unit clear, and then we'll try and find either a tenant buyer and do a wrap for, the arbitrage and create the gap, or put it back on the market for, 80, 90, 100 grand or whatever,
Yeah. And I can tell you guys who are listening and watching this right now, this is an education that you would pay $3,000, $5,000, $20,000 to go to a boot camp and learn. Ask me how I know, right? I was doing sub twos a long time ago, and I paid a lot of money to learn how to do them. So Anthony and Candace are the kind of people who are running free meetups in their town, teaching the stuff for free, looking for deal partners and people that they can share their wisdom with. And the concepts that they're talking about right now are just totally unbelievable, because most people don't even know that you can do this kind of stuff. So you guys have talked about all this, growth and great things that you're doing. Let me ask you a question. What is your biggest challenge right now in business?
Raising private capital.
No, it's not. We're doing pretty well raising private capital. We're always looking for private lenders. But the biggest challenge is turnover, trying to make sure we have the right people in the right seats as we grow the company.
A lot of people want to be in this business, but they really don't know what it takes and to be in this business and to be successful and everything that is involved with it. It's not just buying a house and then closing it. There's a lot of, paperwork and inspections and things like that. and nothing can be missed.
Yeah, it's just been a hard time. I mean, people, and it's our fault. We're the one putting people in seats, but I mean, people are here for either 3 months to 6 months and then either burn out. But so we're trying to figure out as the owners how to keep these people,
hungry and wanting to grow with our company.
Yeah, so that's been our challenge. But again, I'm always trying to raise capital. We're always trying to find better deals. We changed our underwriting since the market shifted. Capital is more expensive. Deals are getting better for us, but just because we changed our underwriting and our marketing is hitting too. But our biggest challenge is
finding people that want to work with us.
Getting our time back. Not working 7 days a week.
It's there's some point where we figure that out, but let's go back to the raising capital. So what a lot of newer investors don't understand is there are people out there who, like our rich uncle, right, who has a bunch of money and he's willing to lend it to companies like ours so that we can buy real estate. And there's a whole bunch of documents involved and the title companies and lawyers and all that stuff, but forget about all that unimportant stuff, because if you can't sit and have a coffee or a beer or stand at a barbecue with this person and have a conversation, they're not going to lend to you, right? So why don't you break down, like in a couple minutes, how does it work with you guys and your private lenders when you guys buy a property?
Well, we first send them a credibility packet. So
well, it all depends. If they're new to us, credibility.
Let's say they're new and watching the show right now.
Yeah, great, fantastic. So they reached out to us. I'd like to talk to them one-on-one, Candace or myself. They'd fill out a new lender's one-page sheet of who they are, see how credible they are.
What they're looking to do with their money.
But once they're accepted by us they're credible and we feel like we'd be a good fit for each other, I would send them, what I do is I send them emails, our lending our deals, and it's basically the address, the ARV, just the basic bullet points. And if they're interested and they want more data, then we'll give them more data, like Google Pics or scope of work, Gantt chart, budget breakdown, material list, whatever they want.
I've even gone to do like our credibility packets, like putting their name, like actually making a video and saying like, hey, I'm Candace, this is Anthony, we're Faithful Home Buyers KC, and then opening up to our credibility packet and they get like a Google Drive, and it just shows like things that we've done, what we do with marketing, who we are, and basically like a breakdown of like about us, so people know us before just giving us their money.
But then it also comes down to the deal. So they want to. But what's great is what's happening now is I'll either send a text message or an email out, and then people will either respond immediately and deal's funded, and then so I'll have to go back. But what's fun for me is going back to the lender, hey, deal offering is off the table. I'm sorry, I'll get you on the next one. So that's a good feeling.
Yeah, there's nothing better.
Private money lenders calling in from our marketing, which is nice.
We've raised capital from our marketing as well. I have lenders on my team on the team that I've never even met. I don't even know who they are.
Some of them are even in Las Vegas.
Yeah,
we got strong.
So I think that's cool.
No, that's cool. So mechanically, let's just finish that out. So if a new lender gets connected with you guys, they're not just like giving you green cash in a bag. How does that work?
Yeah, they do. They come in with a suitcase.
No, I make a joke about it. Like, how do you want your money? I say a big black bag in the back alley.
Bring it on in. We're ready.
I'm just joking. No, but I mean, after they like the deal, all that stuff. If they want to be on a first position or second position, if they can fund the whole deal, be first. If it's gap funding it second. But it all goes through title. They send it, the wiring instructions through title. They get the deed recorded, all that stuff. So promissory note, deed of trust, it goes through title. And all depends how it's structured. Either it's a balloon payment or monthly payments.
And then they get a welcome gift, and then they get Christmas presents.
Yeah, they get T-shirts, hats, birthdays. They get gifts.
Kind of like Investor Fuel does. We're really big on giving gifts, and they get the wax seal envelopes.
We send hand thank yous, but I mean, that's what it is. Lender's policy, deed of trust, promissory note, first or second position, closes through title. Easy peasy.
Yeah, it's simpler than you think. So if you're new investors listening or watching this, make sure you figure out what your local and state laws are. But talk to a real estate attorney. The big thing is you've got to be able to create relationships with people and have good opportunities for them to get involved with you. And I think you guys have figured that part out.
What you're going to do with their money, paint a clear picture for them, like what you're doing with it. So they're not like, oh, you're just going to spend it on like marketing, or you're going to spend it on like new merchandise.
Yeah, I mean, you got to know who you're talking to and what their goals are as well, and how you can serve them.
You're educating one of your lenders. Like he wanted to learn how to do this business, right?
Well, a lot of these guys, yeah, they want to learn how to do the business. And they want to, so we're able to help them out, and we can teach them, give them our stuff, and they realize how hard it is. I'm like, no, I don't want to do the business.
I'm just going to continue to sled.
They all want to eat the sausage, but they don't want to know how it's made. Nobody wants to go to the city and fight about permits and deal with squatters who burn houses down. They just want to make money on their money. So we make it easy for them. So you guys heard it here first. If you guys are interested in working with Anthony or Candace in that capacity, make sure you guys reach out to him. So listen, guys, we're rounding third base and heading home. So what is the best way for people to get in touch with you guys?
Well, our marketing's everywhere. Give us a call, shoot us an email.
My email is
Come on into the office.
it's anthonycoffey@mail.com. They can go to our website. You have Facebook, Faithful Home Buyers KC.
My email is faithfulhomebuyerskc@gmail.com.
We have Instagram, Faithful Home Buyers KC, Instagram,
TikTok,
all over
Facebook.
the place. Yeah, and we're going to have links to all the stuff on the show notes. So if you guys are listening in your car right now, just make sure you go to flipnerd.com, click on shows, click on real estate investing secrets, and look for the show with Anthony and Candace, and you can find all their information. And I don't care where you're from. If you're from another state, find out when they're having their meetups, get out there, make some connections, and you never know where that's going to take you.
Yeah, and any private lenders out there who's not satisfied with their returns, looking to get in the real estate game, we're good operators for that. We have plenty of deals to tie them to, so love to see if we'd be a good fit as well.
Beautiful. Well, I appreciate you guys being on the show today.
Thanks for having us.
Of course, I'll see you guys at a mastermind soon. And if you guys are watching or listening and you are not yet subscribed, remember, like I said, we have 1,500 previous shows. You can learn all kinds of crazy real estate investing information. So make sure that you subscribe. We're on every single podcast, channel out there, right? We're on YouTube. We're all over social media. So make sure you get connected to us. From Anthony, Candace, and myself, Dylan, we'll see you guys on the next show.
Bye.
Thanks for listening to today's show. There are 3 ways I can help you start or grow your real estate investing business. If you're a new investor and just getting started, the Flip Nerd Investor Coaching Program is the most effective program in America. I've been coaching and mentoring new real estate investors for 10 years, and my students have literally purchased thousands and thousands of properties. Many of them started with little to no experience at all. Our program is a paint-by-numbers program where we tell you exactly what to do week by week to make sure that you don't get distracted on your way to results. We show you how to build a real business, not just create another job for yourself. New memberships are limited. You can learn more and apply or schedule a call with me and my team at flipnerd.com/coaching. If you're an experienced investor doing a minimum of 10 deals a year, up to 500 deals a year or more, or have a multi-million-dollar real estate portfolio already, you should check out our powerful Investor Fuel Real Estate Investor Mastermind. Over 100 of the nation's leading real estate investors are members, and it's not uncommon for our members to 2 to 5x their business just from getting around other members at Investor Fuel. At Investor Fuel, each of us are business advisors to one another's businesses, but we don't stop at business. We focus heavily on becoming better people and living fuller lives. If you're looking for fuel for your business or fuel for your life, please check out investorfuel.com. Applications and interviews are required, as most investors are not a fit for our community. Please learn more at investorfuel.com. If you're not ready for coaching or masterminds but eager to start learning more about investing, please join our private Facebook group by visiting flipnerd.com/Facebook. New members get access to free training from us right here at flipnerd.com, and it's a community to safely ask your questions, a great place to get started. Simply go to flipnerd.com/Facebook to request your access today.